Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
When the junior senator from California, Kamala Harris, hit the skids and descended into freefall during her much-anticipated presidential run, the source of her failure was clear: her identity, or lack thereof. Who exactly is this newly minted running mate for Joe Biden? During the primary campaign, which ended shockingly early for her despite great expectations, one day she would present as the tough-on-crime Attorney General of California, locking up drug offenders and appealing to moderate voters. The next day, she would channel Bernie Sanders as a social justice warrior supporting Medicare for all, remember that? And the Green New Deal, still alive in the hearts of radicals everywhere. When presented with a tough issue, Kamala dodged and gave vague answers that left people wanting and wondering. Joining us to analyze who Kamala Harris really is and how her presence affects or changes the race for president is our old friend, LibertyNation.com political columnist Joe Schaeffer. Welcome back, sir.
Hello, Tim. Good to be here.
Well, always good to have you. So is Kamala or Kamala, I'll probably go back and forth on the name since both seem to be acceptable. Is she an inspired choice or the only real option for Joe Biden as a woman of color with significant experience in national politics who could step in at any time and assume the presidency without issue?
Well, I'll tell you why I think she's a bad choice, and I'm talking from Joe Biden's point of view, not from what I think of her personally. A couple of red flags that should have stepped out. She's very good. She's an opportunistic politician. She's good at getting attention focused her way. But then once she gets elevated, once she gets on that higher pedestal, she has a tendency to fizzle out. And I'll give you two examples. One, the Brett Kavanaugh Supreme Court hearings, which were obviously, in her mind, set up to be a big moment for her, national attention. Here we go. She came off as bullying, inquisitional, kind of unfocused, trying to nail him down on this obscure, who are you talking to? You know, none of it really made a lot of sense. And she came across, and it was a big moment for her, and she just underperformed massively. Second moment, very similar, after being elevated to top tier status after the first debate in Miami in 2019, when she went after Joe Biden on busing. That made her a top tier candidate. So she got elevated to that new level. Okay, you're in the top tier. What did she do? Froze like a deer in the headlight. The next debates, everyone is saying, is she ill? Is she sick? Why isn't she saying anything? She was quiet. Basically, she had the renewed attention and she didn't have a lot to say because, you know, when it really gets down to it, I don't think she has a lot to say.
The adjectives that come to mind in terms of her performance during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings would be, in my mind, snarky, mean, petty. She didn't come off well at all. And I say that, you know, without any political prejudice of one kind or another. But we discussed during the primary campaign, Joe, about Kamala's authoritarian instincts. What evidence is there of that?
Well, I thought the best example, I should have scared the heck out of the whole country, was when she said to Joe Biden so famously, I do not believe you are a racist, but that but just hanging like a juicy curveball that Ted Williams is going to hit like 500 feet. You know, it was just, you know, everyone. First of all, the idea that it's her call, you know, I do not believe you are a racist.
Oh, what a great relief that must have been to Joe Biden to have her declare him not a racist. Whew. Wow, that was close, huh?
If she can say that to Joe Biden, what is she going to say to the rest of us? You know, so I above all, what I see her as is just a classic, even going back to the uniparty days politician, in that she's out for herself. She's career-minded. She comes from the Willie Brown political machine politics in California. And to me, she's always been about advancing her own career more than about any real ideals. And this is the Democratic Party that the progressives called the shots throughout the whole primary season. Then they panicked and went to establishment Joe Biden. And now they have Kamala as the president in waiting if Biden wins. And she doesn't have any ideals, really. When you think about it, she's just an ambitious swamp politician, even if she hasn't been there for 36, 40 years like Biden has.
So, Joe, you talk about how she doesn't seem to have any ideological moorings, but she's considered to be at the far left of the liberal part of the Democratic Party as opposed to the progressive radical left wing. But she has presented herself at times as being woke to the level of Bernie. Is she at the Bernie level, the Bernie Sanders level on the wokeness socialist scale?
I don't think she is on the authenticity scale to that degree. She's a senator from California, and you have to say certain things to get elected. And like I said, getting elected, advancing, moving up that ladder is the most important thing to her. Yes, she's a progressive. Yes, she's woke. But if it came to choice between moving up one more step on that ladder or making a truly principled ideological stance, I think a lot of Americans are going to see this from her as this campaign season goes on. She is not a profile in courage. I think she is more of a scheming politician, and that is going to come out over the next 3 months, and Joe Biden is not going to like that.
Do you think voters will pick up that selecting Kamala Harris represents a surrender by Joe Biden to the left wing of the party that demanded not just a woman, but a woman of color? Or will they see her as a natural choice in a time of upheaval and consciousness about racial justice in the land?
I hope and I think people are going to see her as the unimaginative choice that she is. She was the safe. I did a quick Google search on the 2 words, Kamala pragmatic, and you just get thousands of hits. Everyone's using that word pragmatic. Pragmatic choice by Biden. She's pragmatic. And it's just, how's the best way to put this? It was a safe, dull pick. And now for the second election in a row, you have a safe, I think, dull duo, an establishment duo, Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine, and now Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This is not going to inspire anybody. And the thing Democrats still don't understand about Donald Trump, whether you love him or you hate him, he inspires the people who support him. They will get out and vote for him. I am not convinced that Kamala Harris is going to bring anybody out and say, wow, I got to get out there and vote for Joe Biden.
Well, now voters, Joe, have an awful lot to deal with this year. A pandemic, a staggered economy, riots in the streets, a bombastic president, his opponent clearly in decline, and now a woman who failed badly in her own right, who appears more likely than any VP candidate in our lifetime to actually ascend to the presidency without being elected in her own right. Do you think voters will feel that voting for Biden is essentially and ultimately voting for Kamala Harris for president?
Yes, I strongly believe that. I actually just wrote an article about this. It just makes this whole process of this Democratic presidential nomination such just an amazing freak show. She was rejected by Democratic primary voters in 2019 when they ran the most stridently progressive platform. Every debate was dominated by these left-wing talking points. And then they just handed the car keys over to Joe Biden and said, here, you choose for us, thinking he's not going to be there for 4 years. He's a placeholder, and whoever his vice president is going to be the real nominee. They, in effect, said, hey, Joe, go ahead and pick for us, which is saying, hey, Democratic establishment, pick our candidate for us. And now they have Kamala Harris, and I think it's going to be a real fizzle. I think it's going to be, there might be a quick bump. In 2 weeks from now, there's going to be a hangover, and it's like, how do we get excited about Kamala Harris as a president in waiting? I don't think you do. You do not get excited about her. If you are a progressive, any kind of Democrat, you're not excited about this.
Okay, so let me ask the money question, Joe. Does Kamala Harris ultimately help or hurt the Joe Biden ticket.
I actually think it's not going to matter much at all for the simple reason that he's a horrible candidate. I don't see how you would have given him a substantial boost with any of the other possible vice presidential candidates. Biden got this nomination because everyone else was found wanting. And then he had to go from that collection of rejects and pick a running mate.
Okay, Joe, we're closing in on what, 75, 80 days till the election, so you and I will be getting together with increasing frequency in the weeks ahead, and I look forward to it. Thanks for joining us as always.
So do I. Thank you.